with cash. Boom, boom, boom. That was really aggressive. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. It's Keeping Up with Cash. Sorry, I'm on one tonight, but me and my queen Amanda here, we've just been chopping it up. We've been having some fun. Haven't we, Amanda?
Yeah, it's been great.
So everyone, please give a warm podcast, summer day, Tornado Valley. Welcome to the one, the only Amanda Orr. Woo! So Amanda and I, we actually were having this like massive debate about how we met. We both went to Evangel. Yeah, but the thing about it is like, it's like the timeline of things. Like I remember we just were talking, I was like, no, dude, I met you my freshman year. She's like, no, Morgan, you're older than me. And I'm like, okay, well, I met you in this class. She's like, no, I never took that class. And I'm like, I don't know how or where, maybe it was in the hallway, but I remember briefly meeting you. And then she was telling me like all these stories about us and all these like details. She was like, well, you want an RA and you didn't get it. And I'm sitting here like, how do you know that? Like,
no, I feel like I was like, hey, was Haley your roommate? Yeah.
Shout out to my queen Haley. Yes, queen.
I love you, Haley.
You know, matching tattoo queen.
I feel like I would just go to like your guys' dorm basically and talk, and then you show up. But I'd see you at events. I have no clue. I don't have any recollection of us taking a class together, because you said it was a Bible class. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. But maybe there was.
Where there is no way, he thinks a way.
I don't know that song. I'm so embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed. Anyways, so Amanda and I guess we would say our relationship, honestly, we didn't have a relationship, but like, we didn't see each other very often, but when we did, it was always lit. Like,
it was
like, you're funny. Like, I just thought we got along well.
You were always good vibes. Like, anytime
too,
I came
bro.
across you.
So, like, did you go to Evangel, like, because I remember just, like, seeing you off and on. And I don't know. I was like, I don't know if you transferred or, like, stopped going. Like, I didn't know your vibe.
Oh, bro. I had to go to rehab at one point, and I got pregnant at one point, so I didn't go back to the Christian college at certain times.
It'd be like that, bro.
Yeah. So I would take like certain semesters off, and the year I got pregnant, I took a year off before I came back.
That makes sense. You know, it was a lot.
Yeah. Makes a little bit of sense.
She's like, actually, I gave birth in Burgess.
No, it was the virgin birth, guys, okay? Mary 2.0.
Period. So Amanda and I, like super chill vibes. We knew each other from college. And it's always crazy because I don't even know like who's in Springfield. I'm like 3 years now post-grad. I'm a junior adult. I'm going into my senior year of adulthood. And I'll just like randomly see someone and I will be like, oh my gosh, you're from college. Like, you still live here? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, I don't even know. Yeah. So I like to have Facebook because Instagram is very like me, but I like to have Facebook, you know, for the podcast, like marketing stuff. And so recently we had all these college graduations. You graduated and you did kind of a big post. And when I read it, it totally tugged on my heartstrings. And I was like, you know what? I need to, we probably should just get coffee. But I was like, skip the coffee, queen. Hop on the pod. Would you? Would you? And she did, guys. She's here. Amanda's amazing. She's just been helping me out with like lighting and everything. And
I was like, I know nothing.
You think by year 2 that I'd like know stuff?
Call your editor. I'm not the one.
CJ. Which CJ came through. He's like the Superman of the podcast.
Shout out to CJ.
Shout out to CJ. So any Hoosier, Amanda did this big post and it tugged on my heartstrings, and I already am obsessed with you, queen, and we're going to do karaoke after this. But I have to, you know, whatever you want to share on the podcast, I'm going to ask some questions too. But I think your story is pretty remarkable, and even though I don't know the deepness of it yet, I'm excited, and I feel like it's gonna reach a lot of people and resonate a lot of people. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I'm just so nervous.
No, don't be nervous. Well, how about we break the ice down for the listeners and kind of make, you know, let's do fun facts, because fun facts always break. Don't be nervous. Like, fun facts always break the ice. Yeah. You know, you want me to go first, or you got one locked in?
I don't. Koala bears carry chlamydia, so you can contract chlamydia from koala bears if you get too close and touch them.
That is crazy. I actually meant a fun fact of yourself. But a koala fun fact is actually really good too. Okay,
sorry, that's my go-to. I've had that on a dating app once for a fun fact.
Okay, then if we're gonna do like regular fun facts and not ourselves, shoot, I don't know if I know what's on.
Give me a fun fact about you.
Well, we just gave one about koalas, and now I feel like I need to give a fun fact about like the world or something.
About the world? Sheesh.
Okay, fun fact, if you guys lose your keys, like the keys to your car, and you need to get a new car key, most car keys have a chip in it. So you can't just go call a locksmith and get a key. You have to actually have it like generated to this chip so that it will actually start it. But turns out you don't actually have to go to like a dealership to get your key generated. You can just call a guy. So the dealerships want to pay you, like, make you pay like $150. When you call a guy, it'll be like $75.
Bro, who's your guy?
I only know this because I lost my keys 3 days ago and I found them. Bless up God. It's all going to be in the solo pod, so go back and listen to it. But that's the only fun fact I have, is it's like, you don't have to go to the car dealership to get a generated key to start your car if you lose your keys. So,
dude, that is so beneficial.
Dude, I try to really like spread the wealth when I can.
I mean, yes, we don't gatekeep here.
I actually do gatekeep.
Oh, I lied. Some of us
gatekeep my photography spots because this city is small. I'm sorry, I'm a hater. I'm sorry. I know I love you guys so much, but like, I'm so sorry. Okay. So, Amanda, not to take things a little bit deeper, because we're gonna go like roller coaster ride. We're gonna go deep, and we're gonna be like funny, and we'll probably go back deep. We're just gonna have fun. Like, this is, we're just vibe out with me. Can you vibe out? Do you consent to vibing out with me?
I consent to vibing out with you.
Sweet. Perfect. Period. So this Facebook post, can you just walk us through what you posted? And
yeah, so I posted this video, and it was a short little 3-second clip of me when I was on drugs, and then it shoots to me and my daughter like attempting to walk towards me with my mom trying to help her to walk towards me in my graduation cap and gown. And I posted it, and I didn't expect it to get as many likes or people to even like care. I just posted it for me, but it was me just giving a small tidbit of just how I'm 2 years clean now, and just, I finally graduated after 6 years, and I have my bachelor's in social work.
Come on.
So that is the short little tidbit of that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
When I saw that, and I didn't know any of that of your story. Like, for me, it's like, okay, this is a girl I'd seen a couple of times and I like her a lot. And then seeing that, it's like, wow, first of all, we just don't know what anyone's going through. You know what I'm saying? And social media can be such a little lie. It's like our filtered lie. It's also a great resource for communication, but there is that aspect of like, we really don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Even Amanda and I were just chatting about our lives behind the scenes, and I'm like, here's the things I can't say on the podcast, and whatnot, and like things she's going through too. And so, one, I think it's so brave and courageous of you to share that with people, and like, I don't know, like with the hope of maybe just telling your story and being positive and showing what you accomplished. Like, that's amazing to be able to do all of that. Two, can you walk us through as well? I mean, this happened 2 years ago. So just walking us through, like you mentioned a little bit, like you got pregnant during college.
Yeah. So it was like 2018 is when I started college. I was a freshman. And the summer after like my like high school, I tried methamphetamines for like the first time, and I just realized this is the best drug ever. And
so quick pause, and because I'm such a contextual person. She's like, oh my gosh, I haven't even said this.
You're good.
But it's like, okay, so you're going into freshman year and you tried meth.
Yeah,
so
I tried it for the first time.
In that situation, was that like, was it like friends you were with? Were you kind of like wanting to try it? Was it a thing like you're just there and someone offered it? Like, what was the situation at the time?
Oh, that I feel like that was such a blip. It was literally just a friend picking me up, and we were smoking weed, and we drove around, and I didn't realize that they had hard drugs on them, and they offered it to me, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna get addicted after this one time. And I will say, I wasn't. It took like, there were different periods freshman year where I would meet these certain men, and they would just have it. Like, I feel like I lived a very wild life. Like, I tried to secretly live it freshman year, and it wasn't until really sophomore year that I really started getting addicted to it heavily after meeting someone.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I can elaborate.
You're so cute. You don't have to elaborate. I mean, like, whatever you're on, like, your vibe is. So you said you tried it for the first time, and you weren't even hooked to it the first go. Is that what you said?
Yeah, no, because like I met that person, and we hadn't seen each other for months after that. And then I just remember trying it like on a couple occasions with 2 different guys. I remember freshman year, but really sophomore year, I met someone off a dating app, and then
don't be shy. Drop the app.
I met them off Tinder. I met my sperm donor off Facebook dating, guys. So just stay off those ones. Those are not the good ones. Go to a Christian dating app.
There's a lot of shotties out here who are like on those prison apps. I'm just kidding.
There's prison apps?
No, I'm playing. But you know, they'd be like, I see all these TikToks of like girls who meet their men like in jail and they write the letters, and I'm like, I don't know. I respect you, Queen, but like that's just not my journey. Like, so I don't know.
The long distance.
Dating in Springfield is jail. Like,
basically, it's the whole Greene County jail. It's just Springfield.
No. Okay. Okay, is this a weird question? And I don't want to like trigger you at all or anything.
No, you won't trigger anything. I'm an open book, so just ask me anything.
Well, that's good because I'm an open book as well. So, okay, this is just because I've never like, what is meth like? Like, I feel like that's like the dumbest like, whoa, but like
the best and worst thing ever.
I was gonna say like the high, like what is the euphoric feeling, I guess.
So meth, like it affects like your dopamine and your serotonin in your brain. And whenever you take it, there's many different ways you can take meth. Like you can inject it. I did not use needles. I mostly just snorted or hot railed it, or I ate it. It's really disgusting. But basically it enhances the dopamine. So dopamine in your brain is what causes like happiness, and serotonin, it makes you feel calm and just joyful. And so it amplifies those in your brain, like especially your dopamine levels. It gives you such a high level of just boom, happiness. But then it also causes your dopamine levels in your brain to lower. And it takes you, once you get clean, it takes you 3 years to get back to a normal dopamine and serotonin levels. So I felt like my poetry and my writing was better. I could see the world clear. But at the same time, like, I'm not eating, I'm forgetting to drink water, I'm passing out, you're stealing from Walmart, I'm watching people get like beat. Like there was like so many, like you put yourself in these situations, and before I knew it, like it had become a disease. Like in it from the get-go, like I believe that, drug addiction, it is a choice, but after you make that choice, I strongly believe it becomes an illness, and it takes a village to help you get out of that. Yeah.
Dude, that's a bar. Bro, that's someone put that into top quotes of 2024.
Put that on a mug.
Yeah, come on, Kendrick. I'm just
They not like us. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's really true. And there's certain drugs where people are like, oh, I'm not addicted to it, but also I do it every day and I rely on it and I need it. And it's, it's just like, it's sad a little bit where it's like all of a sudden some little thing someone started doing becomes such a crutch and like a part of their day to day, and like they really can't live without that. And that's just like not healthy from so many different angles. And so when you were initially, starting to use meth and things like that, were there any points where anyone noticed and was like, dude, you should stop, and like you wanted to stop, or like after a certain amount of time you were like, I can't stop? Like what was going through your mind at that moment?
Yeah, so I'd used it for a while and no one noticed. I don't know. Can I name drop like professors? And
if it's like in a good way.
Yeah, so Professor Nunnally, she told my mom later on that she had noticed in class that I tried not to make eye contact. Like, you can't really control yourself, like, when you're on drugs. Like, mentally and then physically, you start acting different. You're more skittish, you're more scared and paranoid. And I would hide myself away from my family because I lived on campus, and I literally scared the living crap out of the roommate I had at the time. No, that's a whole thing. But bless her heart, like she, I think, has a good group of friends now and is thriving. But I remember one time, I rambled. Sorry,
everything you're putting down, I'm picking it up. So okay. Like you're so good, Queen.
I remember the first time my dad asked me at church. He was like, "Are you using meth?" And he was like, Mom thinks that you're on meth. And I remember that was during a time my mom came to my dorm one time, and I was pacing back and forth like nonstop. And I just said I had to go to my friend Aaliyah's house at the time because I just knew her background and I knew that would be a safe place. And so my mom took me there, and she just like took care of me, and she wasn't judgmental. But my mom knew something was up, and I remember looking at my dad and telling him yes, like, or maybe it was him that thought I was using, but not my mom. My mom was like, no. And he was like, I wonder if you are. And I said, I've tried it, but I'm not currently using, but I was. So it turned into like a whole big thing too, where I told 2 friends that I went to like youth group together who were at Evangel. I was in Lewis at this time, and they ended up like, I think one friend had talked to their mom about this friend, and like, oh, like they got like their car taken away because my parents took my car away. And it turned into just like their mom went to church with my mom and knew the situation because my mom talked to her. So they found out and they put 2 and 2 together. And then I don't know if those friends told my roommate or if those friends told the
Evangel's like the
RD.
Smallest little city in the whole world. So
my
someone
roommate
probably
found
could told
out.
like one person, and somehow your roommate would know. Like,
yeah. And then I remember walking in just like on a come down from meth, and her moving out like abruptly. Like many people were moving all her stuff out, and she was advised by the RDs.
Did she even tell you at all that she was moving out?
No, but I had to sit down. It was very like, I say traumatic, but everything was dramatic and traumatic when I was on drugs. But she went through her own traumatic experience with me. I remember talking to her later on and her saying like, dude, I thought you know, you were passed out, and after figuring this out, like you could have OD'd and I never would have known when you were asleep, because I would sleep for like 15 hours at a time just in my dorm. But then eventually it got to a point where like Sherry Phillips like came to my dorm and sat me down.
Wow.
And she was like, I think that a family member of hers had struggled with something similar. And so she was very kind. She was the president of Evangel at the time, and she gave me a choice. She said you could go to rehab and come back to Evangel, or like you can like leave, and like and I chose to go to rehab. And so
that's awesome.
Like she was so very kind. I literally was like tweaking, and she's sitting next to me. I'm trying to like the whole time when like you're on drugs, like you're like, and you have to be around people. It's like act normal, act normal, act normal, act normal, act normal, and it's like I'm not freaking normal right now.
Yeah.
But I used to hold a lot of bitterness towards those friends, particularly in the way that the information came out. I kind of wish that like they maybe would have told my parents. Get choked up,
girl.
But it's okay, because everything happens for a reason. In my opinion, like this is like the path and journey I was like meant to take to lead me to where I am now. And yeah,
there's so much to unpack there. I mean, first and foremost, a lot of people that I've met sometimes, they find out I go to Evangel, I went there, and they dog on Evangel. They like, oh, it's rules, things and that. Like, not everyone loves Evangel. I had a great experience. It is a small college, and that does come with a lot of annoying little things. But one thing that I absolutely wholeheartedly stand on is the professors. I loved them. Like, they care about you. I've had professors that I could just talk to when I wasn't rocking with the therapy department, and like people would pray over me. I mean, shout out to the Smallwoods. Like, I just visited them and talked about freaking career and like just flesh things out with them. And like the way that to you are not just a grade, like you are a person, and they see the big picture and they care about you and they pray for you. And I mean, for the president to come to your room and just be like, I want to help you and what's best for you. I mean, that's massive. And I was a roommate once to someone that wasn't in your situation, but she was struggling with some different stuff where she was passed out for hours. And I remember thinking like, I don't know how to help her. Like, I don't know what to do. And so I think obviously it hurts when like friends and like heartbreak there, but it's also like it's their first time probably having a friend that's like struggling with an addiction, and they, it's like, do you tell the parents? Do you not? Like, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think it's
like,
just,
it's also like we're young too. Like that was like that roommate I had, that was like her first experience with any of that, and so she's probably got like trauma from that experience, and her feelings are valid. Like, she expected to have a roommate that was going to show up and hang out with her, be a part of like, events and spend time with her. And it's like, I was never home. I was never at the dorm.
It's also, I mean, like you were going through your thing. Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like someone's experience. It's like, we make mistakes, but also she could have had a roommate that was sober and still sucked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I mean, girls, like, Low-key, we just like out here like.
I think that's one of my biggest regrets though, is because she was an awesome person, and we did not like continue a friendship after that. And it would be nice to rekindle with her one day. But the biggest regret I have, I think, just in life is just time. Like,
One thing about me is that I don't play games unless it's ping pong at Classics Yard. Classics Yard is Springfield's #1 social sport and game center. It is located in the back of Classic Rock Coffee Company headquarters and next door to the Riff. Coffee, sports, music, what more could you want? Located at 1900 West Sunset Street in Springfield, Missouri. Be sure to check them out, play some games, and reserve your event today. Visit www.classicsyard.com.
Can't get time back. Like, you can spend money and you can make money, but the time that I missed out on, like, going to birthday, like, my siblings' birthdays high, and just, like, I would ignore my family. Just stay away from them. They don't see me doing bad. And the same with God. Like, you know, like, I'm just not going to talk to him. Because if I don't talk to God, then he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He knows everything.
That's a bar right there, dude. That's real. Yeah. No, I mean, you're also 24. So I think about the things where it's like, you know, I had a lot of, like, obviously for me, you know, I've not really done drugs and things like that. And so I had a lot of time, but like everyone has their own experiences where like I had great memories, but I also just had hard, difficult ones in different areas that, you know, some things were tainted for me just because of that. So it's really like with what you've been able to do at 24 and the way that you've turned your life around, and like what we'll talk about too, like what God's been doing, but it's remarkable. I mean, people struggle with addictions and things like that, like for their whole life. And so I just think, first of all, we need to cheer this queen on, because a graduate, a mother, she's slaying. She is the moment. Like, be so for real, queen. You're 20. The world is your freaking oyster, queen. Like,
I hope so.
My goodness. We didn't even ask about what you do for work. Like,
oh, well, currently I work in home health care. So I work with adults with disabilities as like a healthcare worker. So that is mostly what I do. So for my last year in college, I did my practicum at a place called Footsteps. It's a transitional living home for youth and younger like adult men transitioning out of the foster care system. They have to be in the foster care system, and it's just like helping them get to appointments and teaching them like, you know, life skills and balancing a budget. But I'm like a youth care worker there, but I'm just PRN right now. So that is what I do for a living.
That's awesome.
I feel like I have this big like social work degree, and it's like I don't know what to do with it yet, but I'm putting it in God's hands. So we'll see what happens.
Dude, and life is crazy, man. Like, I mean, I started my own marketing and social media business, right? And I mean, I've done social media since I was 7th grade.
I don't have the laugh button.
But it's like,
or the cheers. No, why'd you put drums? But I
always joke around. Like, I think I had like 2 marketing classes, but but after I graduated, I learned so much. So it's like, you really don't. I never thought I'd have a podcast. Like, I don't know. You just like never really know what God's got cooking in the kitchen. But I don't know. I mean, you're totally. I mean, you got like. It sounds like your passion is social work, people, helping people.
Like, I would love to work in like a facility one day. Like, the dream would be to be a therapist one day in a drug and rehab facility, and to just be able to be like, hey, I've been through what you've been through. Because I remember when I had to go through rehab, and the therapist had never taken a drug in her life, and so it was really hard for her to relate to me and help me, because it's like, well, you don't get this. Like, how, you know, can you help me out of this? But I don't know. But I've job shadowed at one door. I have been homeless at one point in my life, so like that has a tug on my heart. My mom even told me I could be a doula. Apparently social workers are qualified for that.
Wow, I feel like you'd be really good at that too. There's so many opportunities for you.
Sorry,
So you keep like dropping these like little bombs, and I'm like, wait a second, like, whoa. You said sperm donor paste. I'm like, oh, whoa, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I need to like, I'm a timeline person. Like,
you're good.
Okay, so you were in college, you were on meth, and then people were starting to find out. Then what happened?
Yeah, so 2020, I completed rehab. I'm going
What
back.
was rehab like? Was it?
Oh, I did outpatient. I did not do inpatient, so that's very different. So my outpatient rehab, like, it consisted of me having to go like 3 times a week, but like morning to afternoon or afternoon to evening. And I just sit through all these classes and lectures, like people like basically talking about different types of drugs, us watching like documentaries about like people that did, like famous celebrities that did drugs and went down a bad path.
All of them. I'm just kidding.
No, I met some characters. I remember like there was one person in there that was in there for weed.
Moving the mic around might be.
Oh no, you're good.
First podcast. I'm just kidding.
First podcast. Who this?
Sorry.
No, you're funny.
Sorry, keep going.
Crack me up.
Bro, you crack me up, bro.
But there was just like this one dude couldn't make it because like he just wanted to smoke some weed. There was this one person there who was a shopaholic. And she was older, and she was hilarious. One day she just came in, sat down next to me, and she's like, "What are you in for? Like, what's your drug of choice?" And she's funny.
She's like, Gucci, Fendi.
No, seriously. Like, oh, like she'd have an allowance from her husband of $2,000 a week. So, pop off, queen. But like there was one dude who was like a pharmacist and just used like the meds behind the counter. So it opened my eyes up to what addiction.
It's actually really common sometimes. Yeah.
Like one girl relapsed on like cough medicine. So like it, there was an element of just sit down stuff, and there was an element of like basically like an NA or an AA meeting that we had there, and it was really nice. And to this day, I still go to AA and NA meetings. So I can go on to something else.
Okay. You let me know when we need some girly pop, because I'm locked in. Like you're sitting on my couch and I'm loving you, but I'm like, okay, when did you have the baby? Or like, when were you homeless? Like, you're a beauty queen right now sitting here, and I'm like, girl, how did you get here?
Yeah. Like, so, time goes by, and like I remember it was like COVID, and I just had like, it was like Christmas 2020. My whole family has COVID, and I'm on this like dating app, Facebook dating, and I
know so many people on that though, low key. Hey, and it seems like it's working well for them, so I support it.
No, she's like, no hate, because like I know people that have literally like been together for years and they've met off Tinder and stuff. Yeah. Like it really is just about the people. Like I choose to ignore the red flags. Just got some rose-colored glasses. There's a line from like BoJack Horseman, and I'm gonna butcher it, and it's like, if you put like, when you look at someone through rose-colored glasses, like the red flag is just like, they look like kind of pink. I butchered that. Like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So but I basically started talking to the sperm donor. I don't call him dad or father, because he's not. So
he wasn't originally the sperm donor, but he was originally a chat that turned into a sperm donor.
But it turned into like a 3-year like thing, and it turned into me driving to Branson weekly. Like, it's like, I am a strong believer on like people. You can be addicted to people.
Yeah.
Like, people are like drugs. Like, when you go through a breakup, the people have like done the studies where the chemicals in your brain, it's the same as a breakup.
Yeah.
Like the intensity, the feeling of loss. And I was heavily addicted to this person. I helped raise their other child. And I just became so sucked in. But throughout that process, it was just very toxic. Like, they did not always like to be touched. I'm a very physical touch person. I remember like...
So question just for the, listeners. So you had gotten off rehab. Were you completely clean then at that point?
Yes. No. Lied. No, I was trying to
Got him. I'm just
sorry. I'll backtrack. I was literally like still using meth in rehab. Okay. I was trying to. I would like, because like you get drug tested once a week, and I had to think about it. It's been a minute. Drugs. What can I say?
You're so funny, bro. Trigger warning for people out there, but we're having a deep talk. Like, this is what you do.
Drugs.
We cope with comedy. That's what we learned.
No. I would try and use like once a month. I would try and or once every 2 weeks, like after I'd get drug tested. But usually they did the drug testing in the end of the week, like Thursday, Friday. And with methamphetamines, it takes only 3 days for it to get out of your system.
Wow.
And so I would also try and cheat the system. I would dilute my pee by drinking a lot of water. So the test results would come up negative, and they'd be like, hey, you can't do that again. Don't drink so much water,
Right.
So eventually it really, I remember I was like, at that time, because I have like relapse, that's why like I have 2 years clean, like 2020. I just remember I was with like a friend and they were on drugs and they were trying to get to know the Lord. And I remember I was like, we were both just high and I was trying to read the Bible to them. And there's a thing called meth mouth, whenever you just move your mouth and your jaw doesn't work, you're just spewing random things and it's just moving constantly. Well, I was trying to read the Bible to this person. I could not read it properly. And I just remember God just like tugging on my heart, like, what are you doing?
Wow.
You can't even read my word right now. You can't even help someone who's like, I always like, I have this savior complex and I think that I can help people, but I'm self-aware now to know that I can't always save everyone. It's not my job. Sometimes it's other people's job. Sometimes it, like, because I get pulled down. Me trying to lift someone up, I'm going to get pulled down. And so, but eventually like that was like the key moment. And I was like, well, I can't keep trying to like cut curves in rehab. Like I have to go by the book now. And, yeah, and also my parents took my car away, so like I didn't have much mobility. But I remember in the beginning of the rehab stages, I'd have like, drug friends come pick me up from rehab, like, hey, like come, so and so. Yeah.
And the reason why I was asking that too is because when you're in something so toxic, and like say that you were trying to be clean, then like did that toxic sperm donor or whatever, was he replacing the drug in certain moments?
Oh, 110%. Like he was my drug. Like I would like smoke weed on the side after rehab here and there and stuff. With him, I was like, I'm gonna be the best mom for your child. I'm not gonna do anything. I don't need anything. And I just remember like it felt like this is my purpose now. It's my purpose to take care of this grown man and his child. And it's my purpose to make sure they're fed. And I've continued that into even my latest relationship that I had with my ex. Like we were together for 7 months and I felt like a lot of the times, like no hate, but I felt like a lot of the times I was like catering to them.
Yeah.
And I very strongly and firmly believe like I want a provider and a man.
Yeah.
And it's not my job to take care of like grown men. Like period. But yeah, I definitely used him. I replaced him. And I like also in between the times before I even in between then too, I literally have gambled. I lost thousands of dollars at like Buffalo Run, Indigo Sky, Riverbend.
Talk.
Like I went to Oklahoma, I would lose thousands. So addiction can manifest itself in many different ways, and it's a matter of like, I have a sponsor now, and like I don't always hit her up. Need to hit you up more. Thanks, Jessica.
Jessica.
But no, but keeping like a group of people who are sober and holding you accountable is very important. Like that's like in rehab they say people, places, and things. So
that's good.
The people like you used with, you have to cut them off. You have to, like, even if it's family. Sometimes it's hard and you can't always do that. But family, places, and things. It could be literally like that notebook.
Isn't that a Dr. Seuss book?
What?
Maybe that's like all the places you'll go. But I feel like people, places, and things. Maybe I don't know.
No, it's a huge
Dr.
thing.
Dr. Seuss takes them now.
Dr. Seuss is what got me to
keep going
to
on.
quit
This
drugs.
is good. Those green eggs and ham, bro.
I tried. Like, I put like dye and eggs once. Yeah, and had my own little green eggs.
Was it cute? Was it good?
Yeah, I was in kindergarten, but like.
Oh, okay. She's like, I thought it was like last week.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, back to people, places, and things.
No, it was just like that's something. Like I remember one time like helping a dude in rehab. He was like, I used in the place I live. I can't like leave this place. What do I do? And other people had like ideas too. I remember the instructor, the person had said, why don't you move your room around, like switch it up? And I said too, like listen to different music. Like it used to be like triggering for me to listen to music when I was like high and listening to it afterwards because it had a whole other meaning, and I just would go back to like certain time periods. But I think that was helpful to them. It's just like, yeah.
No, that's really good. And honestly, that goes for so many things is, whatever is the killer of joy in your life, it's like, you get something out of toxic. if that's your drug, then you really have to put a wall there and have accountability people in your life to help you get there. And there's certain things like your music, like I love all kinds of music, but sometimes I'll notice I'll be like singing certain things and I'm like, wow, this is just like sucking my joy, you know?
Yeah.
Or it's like, wow, I just feel so like dirty after I'm listening to this, or whatever it may be. And, you know, it's hard because you want to reach people that are lost and be friends with everybody, but also you got to be really careful about the close company that you keep, because I have the savior complex as well, but also it's like, if I'm trying to help someone, you know, and then if they're really, really close to me, is maybe they're struggling with something, is that all of a sudden like starting to hinder or hurt me, you know? And that's where we gotta be really careful about who we have in our close quarters, because yes, helping them is great, but also it can massively influence you, especially when we're like in a weak moment, you know?
And something I've just learned is that you gotta want it. There's some party that's got to want it. Like my mom would always remind me, like, Amanda, you would not be able to be a social worker the amount of times you were pulled over, and I would be the one that would hide the drugs on me because everyone else had like charges or felonies.
Wow.
And so my mom was like, if you had gotten like a felony charge, like if you carried meth on you, you get that charge, you would not be able to be a social worker today. And like I remember her telling me that, and it just stuck with me. Like, and I just became like, my eyes were opened at different times. And I will say God was with me throughout that whole process. I remember there was a time like satanic music was playing and I just was like, God, I need to leave, but I can't move. Like meth, when you're on meth, like time, it feels like it's moving like slowly, but it's moving like 15 minutes to you will be 10 hours.
Wow.
Like maybe that's a little exaggerated, but like you're like, you just get sucked into your phone or listening to music, or like I had on my notes like novels. Like I would not stop writing. It was just, I just had to keep going. And I just remember like all of a sudden I threw up on myself and I went to the bathroom, and that I just felt like that was God telling me like, you need to leave. And that like there was like a creepy guy too trying to put his finger on my shoulder. And I had a code word with some friends when I used drugs. We'd be like, you need to get some toothpaste. And like I'd be like, yeah, like
it's kind of clever, to be honest.
It really is. I told my mom that, and she was like, you can always text me if you need toothpaste.
Aww.
It's very sweet. I love you, Amanda Orr. You're the best. But and then there was one other time I just remember I was in like Walmart, and one of the people we were hanging out with, like she identified as like a Wiccan and like believed in like paganism and like Satanism. Like she was like all of it. Like she had all of it intertwined, but she didn't have a Ouija board. And I was just so like, I want to do it. I want to do it so badly. I remember I paced that Walmart aisle back and forth, literally the kids section, probably scaring some kids, like my tweaking self.
I'm like, Mom, get me out of this carny Walmart.
The crazy lady won't let me get you Uno. But
she's blocking the Barbies.
I just remember telling like the friend at the time, not the one that was a Wiccan, but the other friend, I remember telling them like, well, I can't find it, but like I really want to do it. And he just was like, stop. Like she doesn't like doing it. Like that's what you gotta realize. She doesn't enjoy this. And so that's
not
just, like,
talking about you, talking about the other girl.
Yeah, the girl who was involved in all of that, who was like, you know, like she didn't have a Ouija board anymore. And he was like, no, she doesn't actually like doing this. Like it doesn't help her life. She talks about she likes it and stuff, but like it really does make her uncomfortable, like some of the practices that she did. And I just feel like that was God saving me that day.
Wow.
Like I'm so dedicated to like seeking after these evil things and being in these, like if I had like gone to that person's place alone, like that guy putting his finger on my arm, like who knows what would have happened. And so I don't know, I just see God in those moments. And even when I was getting clean, like I remember I tried to let, you know, people, places, and things. I tried to let some people back in my life and that used drugs, and they told me they were clean. And man, I went to this like cult of a house church. Wow. And I felt like they're like, and I'm Pentecostal, so I believe in the gifts that God gives. Right. I believe in speaking in tongues, but I just remember this church was improperly speaking in tongues, and I just knew it. Like TV, very like showboat. And there was this like kid that had like very clearly a mental disability. And he just starts raising his hands and crying, and everyone surrounded him. And it just, I was like, well, God, this is like my beliefs. I don't know, but I don't know. Like
Some felt weird.
It did. So I went to the bathroom and washed my hands, and the hand soap was the same soap that I used whenever like I washed my hands like vigorously, like trying to smell good, be clean, because Because what meth does to you, it makes you excrete this smell of trash. You really do. Like, you sweat more, you get more pimples, you get musky, like, you just do. And it was the same hand soap I used, and I just, like, there's my answer. Like, because I was, like, asking God, like, I don't know if this is, like, a good church or not. I don't know if this is biblically accurate.
Yeah.
And he gave me the answer. So there's been a lot of protection, even with my bad choices.
Well, and it's so important too, just on that, like, knowing the Bible for yourself, because I grew up, like, going to Christian schools and things like that, and it's people just be preaching different things, and so you, like, people always trust the person, and I, like, obviously as humans we're flawed, and that's why it's important to know the word to know when it's flawed, because I mean, people can buy into all kinds of things, and sometimes there's agenda, sometimes they're not, and it's pretty crazy. And so it is so interesting just when you're talking about, like, God in these seasons where you're like, I'm still struggling with drugs, and, like, I was anti-God or whatever, but he was still protecting me. Like, regardless of how many times you use meth or how far you ran, like, his love for you was, like, unconditional. Like, he was still chasing after you every day.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Oh, for sure. Like, I feel like at times in my life, like, growing up and even in my young adult life, I just use, like, I'm just gonna pretend like he's not there, because, like, I'm actively sinning in my life, and it's like I feel shame, I feel guilt. I don't want to come to God with it, because then I'll feel more shameful and more, guilty for these actions and these things that I personally, like, if I was in my right mind, or if I don't find morally right, and I'm going against my own personal morals and going against what God, would not back. And it's like, I don't want to talk to him, because it's like talking to that friend that literally is going to be like, hey man, like, what's going on? Like,
dude, right now I am the friend. I am not me sending that text, like, earlier today. No, I am that friend right now.
Period.
But I'm like, look, man, you don't got to text me back, but you got to know that I'm here, There's also there is a thing called righteous judgment, and it comes from a place of just, like, when you are a believer and, like, another believer sees that you're sinning and them calling you out in a loving manner, like, it's like, I mean, obviously to your friend that was like I'm here for you, well,
I love you, but, like,
but
no, because
it's hard too, because you want to have that relationship, like, it's like, I don't judge people, like, I'm like, God is the judge, this and this, but it is hard when people that are very close to you and you're like, hey, like, are you doing okay? And at the end of the day, like what you said, we don't have control over other people's actions. And even in the season you were in, you were like, I knew I was sinning, I knew I was doing these things, but I was still doing them. And so it's kind of like, if you're the friend in that situation, it's like, okay, like, I love Amanda, I'm gonna pray for her every single day, but she's gonna do these things, so, like, maybe I need distance, or, like, I'm just gonna pray for her until she gets to that place.
There were friends, like, some have come back into my life for a season, but I lost friends, like, over, like, using. Or just the relationship never ended up being the same afterwards. And to this day, like, I don't carry any ill will, because I realize, like, they need to protect their peace. Yeah. And that's okay. Like, you don't need to be around me while I'm doing meth, because, like, I'm like, be with me, I'm so scared, like, I need someone, like, I feel all this anxiety, I'm stressed, like, and it's like, you don't need that on your life right now. There's a difference between loving from a distance and, like, protecting your peace, and, like, oh, you're a bad friend, you weren't there for me, because that would be my thing. I'd be like, oh, you weren't there for me. But it's like, I needed to take care of myself in that moment. That's a me thing. Yeah.
And it's not an easy feat. I mean, I'm 25, you're 24, and we've lost friends at this point, and so we're kind of like, friend breakups suck. Like, you just never see them coming, and you just never think it's gonna happen. And as you get older, it gets a bit more, like, normal a little bit, where you're like, oh, okay. But still, like, the ones you're locked in on, it's hard. I think an element of, like, I feel like sometimes it can get more familiar, but I don't think it ever really gets easier, losing friends.
It doesn't. I mean, there's going to be an element of sadness no matter what, but it's also when you have those first big friend breakups.
Right.
Like,
it's catastrophic.
I feel like, especially more for girls, I mean, that's me being sexist right there, but, like,
guys just
like,
fight it out.
Guys fight it out, or they'll be like, oh, I don't need you.
I have met, like, some I have met dramatic guys. I have met guys that are like, "We're done with you," like, blah. And I'm like, not me, but like with
their girlfriend?
I mean, sometimes with me, like, well, some guys just block just like girls do, and I'm like, oh, well, this is different. Like, maybe you guys should fight. I'm just kidding.
There's some. I mean, I've never been in a fight. But there are some women I just wish we just like throw hands at one point just so we can brawl it out like guys.
Yeah, I definitely.
Instead of us being petty and not talking to each other. I hate when people ignore me. Yeah. It's my biggest pet peeve.
I'm like, let's throw it down on the ping pong table. You know, like, winner takes pride. I'm just kidding.
I can't ping pong for the life of me. You're taking all the pride.
So, okay, we still need to get to the point where, like, okay, you had a baby, you were homeless, and like Jesus.
So the very toxic sperm donor, basically they got, they couldn't live where they were at anymore, and I kept saying, do I need to help us get an apartment in town? And they kept saying they're fine, until they were literally out in the street. Stuff's moved out, people are moving in, and I literally was like, get in my car. And it literally turned into a 9-month period of just them living in my car.
Wow.
While me trying to like go to Evangel and like.
Wow, dude. Yeah, that's some Hannah Montana type double life.
It seriously was. It was just very sad, and it like, shout out to anyone who's homeless or knows anyone that's homeless. If you go towards Nixa and Ozark area, if you go off Evans Road, there's a commuter parking lot there. And it is open to the public. Cops will not pull you over because it's so close to the airport. Like, you can stay there in your car. So if you know a friend that like is really struggling but they have a vehicle, like, you can go to that off Evans Road and not be disturbed by cops because it's not private property. There was a lot of times in the beginning I get pulled over by cops.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is like, where do you park the car every night? You know,
I would try. I remember I tried doing apartments, but like they had like, that's so stupid. Like, they literally have security at some. They have literally like picture like recordings, pictures, like video footage, and so like they will catch you. And then thankfully, like I found that like someone told me about that, and I was like, wow. So that just became where I lived for like, probably like 6-7 months out of the time. Like that was where we would just sit, and it would just be a very boring life. It was, there's an element too of just, I feel like addicts can relate to this, of just the chaos, missing the chaos. And there's a lot of freedom when you're homeless. Like, I was the one that I worked 3 jobs. I worked home health care, I worked in a girls group home, and I door dashed because he didn't work at all. So I provided everything. And because like it was a vacation if I could get us a hotel. And there was a hotel in Branson that was only $30. So it was just like, wow, like we get to like shower, we get to lay in a bed tonight, like we get to, I don't know, like that was like our normal, and that was what was special. But there's an element of like freeness and no responsibility that is attractive to a homeless lifestyle, like at times. But it is, I would not want to live that. I would not want to go through that again. Like it's really hard. Like, you have to use the bathroom outside sometimes if you can't make it to a place. If you're far away, like you, I don't know, you have to find new resources of cheap ways to make food because we couldn't just make food. Yeah. Like, you can't just like buy groceries and like try and make something. It was like, what are the cheapest things on like the dollar menu at Taco Bell? Like, all right, what can we get from this gas station? Like, gas station ladies giving me free food because they knew my situation.
So did your parents know that you were like living with this man?
110%.
And so were you ever like, can I just like get some, like what was the vibe there then?
That was, my dad never met him. My mom did once when my tire went out and my car wasn't working, and I got her vehicle, the vacation vehicle, because it was bigger. We could both lay down in the back.
Dang.
But no, my mom and dad were just like, he's not a man of God. We don't believe in you living with a man before like marriage. We don't approve him coming and staying at our house. And that was it. And I would get so sad and dramatic with my mom, but really like it's her boundaries. And he was a horrible human. He didn't want to meet them. He was very, very bitter at the time, and horrible humans a lot. I don't want to like carry any more bitterness. I want to give that up. But he had a lot of social anxiety. So even just being at a place like Whitewater or the mall, like that was too many people. and meeting my family, that was like such a big step. Like that was such like anxiety filling. And, you know, my parents had known about, like, I had 2 miscarriages, like, with him prior to me having Juniper. And one of those times, like, he literally, like, told me, I'm not going to be with you unless you have an abortion. And I remember taking a friend, and we went out and drove to this abortion clinic, and just to find out that I already miscarried.
Oh my
And then,
gosh.
like, I, like, you know, there, like, they, like, did the ultrasound, and it was just, like, ugh, it was just, like, in my gut, like, literally in my gut. Sorry, that was a bad joke right there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You gotta make fun of the. You gotta.
It's okay, bro.
But like,
we're kind of like, we're unhinged on here, bro.
But my
This is
dad
not
literally,
TED Talk.
he was like, he's not a man. Like, if he made you, like, if he put you in that position, and so.
Good for your parents too. That that
like,
cannot
good
be
for them.
easy for 2 parents to talk truth to someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, to your child that you love so much, and having to be like what a hard position for both of you guys, really, you know?
No, for sure. My mom's always said, you're my favorite child to worry about. Felt that. Like, my mom and dad.
I was like, wow, she's just gonna come out and say it? Like,
no, for real. Like, they're like, and like, I remember too, like, when I was in my active addiction, like, my dad growing up, he would always be like the authority figure. And my dad does struggle with impatience at times. So I just remember, my dad, like, coming to me crying, because I would be, like, scared of him. I'd be scared of male figures, like when I was on my come downs and stuff, like, and I was, like, geeked out. And he was like, I'm leaving up the punishment up to Mom. I don't want you to be scared of me. I love you.
Wow.
I care about you. Because there was one time my dad went out searching for me. They had that Life 360 searching for me.
Dude, that's the same
banging
thing.
on doors, and, like, I was like, ah. But, like, I mean, it all led me to here. And, you know, I'm thankful. Like, at least I have parents that care enough to worry about where I'm at night. And there's many people that don't have that.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. So then, when did you really find, like, have your come back to Jesus moment and all of that?
Yeah, so I stayed pregnant for roughly like 2.5 to 3 months in the car, and I eventually told him I cannot keep doing this. So he said he moved in with a friend. I think that he moved in with the other baby mama. Baby mama. But you know what? He gets to raise his son, and I hope that makes him happy. And so after that, it's just been a series of just me figuring out how to try and be a mom. Like, I struggled with postpartum really badly, like having really dark thoughts, and a lot of that was knowing that he was not going to be in the picture. Like, I'm gonna have to do this alone, and the reality of that. And this might seem weird, but my placenta was in the front of my stomach, so I barely felt my daughter move inside me. So it just felt, I dissociated, and I was like, I'm just big. I'm just a big girl. I'm just walking around. And then I had her, and reality set in, and I think I had sperm donor meet my girl at the 3-month mark and the 6-month mark, and he has yet to see her since.
Wow.
And I was in this really, sorry, I'm just rambling, giving you the whole life story.
No, I'm locked in, bro. Like, keep going.
But yeah, like, it was like a grieving process. Like, I missed them. Like, I'm still trying to, like, move forward with the guilt of, like, I chose the wrong person to have a child with. Now my daughter is gonna have to grow up without, like, that kind of father figure. But then my parents are like, my dad's like, I'm gonna be that father figure. Like, I'm going to be the man figure in her life that she needs. And I summon it up because I talk a lot, but my recent relationship, it was 7 months long, and it was very toxic in some ways. It like, I eventually said, like, this ended a couple months ago, and I said we both need to work on our own mental health. And it got to a point where, like, we were in the car together, and I'm not going to say all of that because I don't want to talk negative about anyone.
No, you don't need to.
I have a lot of love for them still. Like, I care for them. But it got to a point where, like, they walked out of the car at one point, and I was like, God, like, I need you to intervene. What do I do? And then at one point they were like, well, what, like, just break up with me already. If you don't want to be with me, like, just break up with me. That's what he said. And I said, Lord, he said it first.
Won't
and
he do it? Won't he do it?
And so and then he left the car again after I said, okay, like, we're breaking up. And they left the car, and then I was like, God, give me the strength to keep going. Like, give me the strength to say no every time, because they're going to try and talk me out of this.
Yeah.
And every time they're like, oh, just a break. I was like, it can be a break for a while, but I need to finish school. Like, I was failing some classes, and I was like, might not get my degree. I need to focus on this. Like, I was like, I need to learn how to be a good mom. Like,
Come on.
No, I just burped into the mic for those that like heard that little.
They can't smell it.
But you can. No, but like I really just like, I want to go through a season where it's like I am okay in the loneliness and everything, because I think I've sought men and validation and reassurance in all the wrong places. Yeah. And it's like, I don't have to have someone to be happy. God made me, like, we weren't meant to do it alone. Like, it's a we thing. We were meant to live together and to grow together. But also, if a man never comes into my life, I need to be okay with that and just be like,
girl,
all right, period.
Come on. Yeah.
Period. Like, I don't need someone else to make me feel whole. I'm already whole. Yeah. I might be broken. There might be some cracks, but like, a man is only going to put some Band-Aids over that. God's going to actually put the glue in there.
That's good.
And so, I don't know, like, and after that breakup, like, there was like a solid 2 weeks of me just listening to like literally Jesus music. Like, I was like, I don't want anything secular. Like, I literally just need to be filled with God's word. And my mom's like, wow, that's music. Like, 88.3 The Wind songs are like on
bro,
the
not
CD
the
in
wind,
the
bro.
88 The Wind. And like, it literally like was the cheesiest songs, but they were like they kept me going. Yeah. And I pray every day now, and it brings me so much peace. I could have the worst day. Like, I twisted my ankle like last week, and it was black and blue, and I was screaming and crying. I still give God the glory and say thank you, because I got to live another day. I got to breathe. I'm still here. That's good. I have a daughter who is growing up, and I get the joy of raising her and not being on drugs today, and that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Yeah, like, God is good, and I give him all the glory, because I would not be here today being able to share this like testimony with you and others, and like your ministry, to be able to bring people on here and share their businesses and all that.
You
like,
made me cry.
No, like, that's beautiful. Like, you were able to start this. Like, God literally put something on your heart, and like, you just took that and ran. And like, you're so good at this too. Like, you're so good.
Amanda, we're totally in a class together.
She also didn't tell me that we were filming this, so like, my bangs are bright orange like a chicken.
Guys, Amanda looks so good. Get out of here. I thank you so much for coming on the pod. I'm not saying that not because we're done yet. Like, honestly,
you can. I summed it up.
We're not done. We haven't even had a little laugh moment yet. But no, literally, you're so redeemed. Like, I didn't even know you on a super huge personal level, but like, the things that you're struggling with now, where you're like being like, I'm struggling with that now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just hear your story, and like, you've had so many experiences I've never had. You've like had all these moments that are, you know, scary and different things, but you're so real. And that's what resonates with people, is it's so real. Like, you're like, yeah, I heard God. God was there. I just ignored him. That's real, bro. Like, we've all felt that. And you know, you say things like, I'm going to be the mother, like that, you know, and the things that you're going through. Like, I'm in the same boat. I'm like, God's called me to Springfield. God knows what I want. Like, I'm here, but you know, he's like, Morgan, I just have you in the middle of all these things, and I need you to be the nuclei of the situation. And I'm like, okay. And I'm also learning to be like, if it's just me and God forever, I want to be so in love with you that I'm okay with that. You know?
And it's hard. It is still, like, it's still a process. Like, like, you know, like, if a cute guy walked on the street right now, I'd be like, what you doing?
No, I did that like an hour ago.
I know, you got me there. You gave me the idea. But like, I do the same. Like, I compliment people. Yeah. It's hard. It is hard to get to a place where you're like at peace. Some people don't like this word, but like, you can just learn to be content. Yeah. Or like, have a decent day. Because a lot of people are just like, life sucks. Like, life. Yeah. I just saw this TikTok, and it was just talking about like, if you view the world as like oh, there's poop everywhere, and life just sucks because there's poop everywhere, when really it's just poop on your shoe. Yeah, that's and good. You just gotta wipe that off and like handle your business. Like,
and I saw a TikTok too, and the guy was, and I was talking about this with a friend. It's like, no one has to teach you how to sin. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one has to teach me how to lie. Like, no one has to teach me how to gossip or like things like that. And it's like, when you choose to live for Jesus, like when you're choosing like the self-control you have to like, you know, you don't want to give in to men when you want validation for like sexual things. Like you don't want to, like you want to speak life, like you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like those things don't come naturally, and we have to like put in the work and the self-control and like have the friends around you pushing you, and it makes a difference. Like when I call one of my girls up and I'm like, hey, I'm struggling, can you pray for me? I need you to come at me with some truth. Be like, you know, Morgan, you're not doing this, you're not this, but, and I'm like, okay, that's what I needed to hear. You know, don't be like, okay, like let's go forget about it, like you know, I don't need that, you know. And so it's
that's great having like I personally, like I'm trying to find like a good youth group. There's one that's starting up with my church.
Girl, you gotta join our small group, bro.
No, because like I want to make more godly friends, like godly women friends surrounding me, because a lot of mine have moved away and stuff, and I have like friends who are secular and stuff, but they're queens. I love them, and I'm like able to witness to them, and they honestly teach me things too, and I love that. But having more people to turn to, because it's different if your friend also lives in town too than if they were out of town. But I still call my friend, like I call my friend Angel. She's my biggest spiritual like cheerleader, and she's got me. Like literally before like my breakup a little while back, like I literally told her, I was like, I haven't called you in a while because I felt all this conviction. Like it was a lot of conviction. Like when something is like heavy on your heart, and you're like, you know, we talked about this before the podcast, and like you're physically feeling different, like just in any type of way mentally, like, you know, something's not right in your soul. Right. And like, don't ignore that. Like, don't ignore that.
No, it's true. And I mean, like the moments I can think about that I regret the most are the ones when I knew it was wrong, and then you do it, and then immediately you feel like the sucker punch in your gut, and you're like, maybe it's just me.
No. But my problem is like I'm gonna get punched over and over again, like all week, all night long. I'm gonna get like beat the crap up because, like I don't know, like there's an element of just like I don't care anymore. Like this is my life. My life is in tatters, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know, I'm a firm believer on just being positive, loving people. And you like anyone can be redeemed. Anyone can. Anyone. Doesn't matter if you've like come from a life of poverty, addiction, or what it is like you've struggled with, like generational curses, like you can overcome those. I'm a strong believer.
That's right. You're not too far gone. You're not unlovable. Like you are
just enough, just the way that you are. And I'm, you know, it's constantly like reminding people of that, especially women. Like I have more women friends, so it's like reminding them that I'm so sorry that man hurt you, but like what he said does not define you. Like you even said this before I walked in, like like God defines you. Like what is God? My mom would say this, what does God say about you? Because I will have like bad self-talk, and I'll be like, I'm just worthless, I'm a horrible human being. And she's like, no, what does God see you as?
That's right. And you know what's crazy is I'm an overthinker and analyzer. So you could be like, Morgan, like that one episode I liked, but there's something about your tone that I think is self-centered. I will think about that till I die. And the thing about it is it's like, you know, there's certain elements where people I trust, people I really lock in with, their opinion matters. Like obviously we care about people's opinions, but when someone tries to tell me something like, oh, Morgan, you're this, oh, Morgan, you're that, Morgan, you're the side chick, like you're this, like, no. You know, like unless you're my mom, my dad, you're God, you're my best friend, I don't care. Like I cannot take what you're saying at weight value, because it's like you do not have the authority to speak that over my life. Like you're not God. You don't define who I am, you know? And unless you know my heart, you know what's going on, I can't take that, because I'm not gonna live in that. And that's a big thing that I've been learning recently is like, what is stealing your joy? Like what is holding this power? And it's like, let it go, have distance from it, because we cannot be having things steal our joy and like living in that, you know?
And I'm guilty of like, I have this mindset of like, I need to fight to the very end. Like I have to do everything I can. And that comes with like friendships, and it comes with relationships. Like I need to, like, I can't leave. I can't end this, because you know what? Like I need to give it my all. I need to try my hardest. Like I don't want to be a quitter. And it's like, sometimes the closure is like if you don't get it, like sometimes like you got your closure. Like if you don't get a response, like if there's silence, that you got your answer.
Yeah.
And try and pick up the pieces as best as you can with people who do love you and that are surrounded by you. Also, this is a side note too, but before I left sperm donor, I remember I prayed to God and I was like, I don't have the strength to leave them. I'm gonna be 6 months pregnant in this car if I keep going at this rate, and I can't do that. And I was like, God, like, you have to be the one to make him leave. I remember praying that. And then that same week, like, he's gone out of my car.
God is such an awesome, like,
and it's like,
God,
I didn't want to pray that prayer because like I just knew God's power, and I was like, I knew he's gonna do something, so I don't want to do it. I'm gonna ignore him, and then eventually I'm just like, and like my dad even said, like, I'm praying that you leave him, but like I'm also praying that he leaves you.
Yeah.
And like I was like, yep. And then but
because sometimes when we pray, like, the answer like that is yes. God's like, just ask me and I'll make it happen, you know? And sometimes it's no, or it's wait, or whatever it may be. And so some people will be like, I'm so mad that God doesn't answer my prayer. Like, maybe it's just not the time, bro. Like,
yeah, and it could be circumstantial. Yeah. Like, God, like, has a plan for someone's life and your life. And, you know, sometimes it's a season of waiting to see what happens and just growing closer to him, drawing near to him. And also, like, who you bring to the table, you know, your group of friends, that's what's going to make up who you are.
Yeah.
Like
if God would have answered my prayer in December, I wouldn't have gotten to do 10 things that I did here in Springfield or met a lot of people. And so it's just like, it's like, don't be mad at the answer, you know, have patience and grace and navigate why he answered that way. So I know we're running low on time here. We're having so much fun. We had like this whole girly pop segment, but I feel like we've gotten to such a deep place that I kind of want to like marinate it. The only funny thing that I do want to ask, first of all, this queen is single. Am I right or no?
I am single.
So all the Christian, you know.
No Tinder and no Facebook dating for me.
You know, all the Christian men that are here cutting wood, you know, you little lumberjacks. We need a man around here. This queen, she'll dinner dates with reservations only, please.
Oh no, please don't. I'm very anxious.
What? Okay.
Sit down to eat dates. They're just like, I don't know. I don't want someone, a guy to see me eat on the first date. I don't know. I'm weird about that.
I
overthink too. I'm an overthinker.
All right. Well, what's the ideal date then? Like,
I don't know.
You're not gonna go
going to the movies, so I don't have to talk to you.
Okay, all right.
No, I'm just kidding.
So if you're mute, I'm just kidding. You're the man.
A hammock date,
dude. Okay, hold on. Okay, because I had to.
I'm about to pee myself. That was so funny. No one gets it.
But, bro, no, they get it. Because if you listen to my solo pods, you get it. Because first of all, I was like, how? I was like, there's no way she just said that. And then I realized I just told you that story. So. No, guys, if you're a male listening to this, do not take a girl hammocking for the first time. That's all I'm going to say. The one thing I do want to talk about, though, as in girly pop, is we were talking about, like, goofy memes, and the TikTok baby that goes, who wants to go to Orlando 4 seasons? Me! Like,
yes, mother, I would greatly enjoy the presence of going to the Four Seasons Orlando. No,
that meme is one of my all-time meme favorites. Like this baby that is less than 1 year old. That's like apparently psychologically babies are not supposed to like say like they like mama, dada, like saying me, like that kind of act, like that. It's supposed to be really hard for them, and then also like pointing their finger is really hard. So the fact that this baby's like me, mother, like
it's good. It's got it's probably got 9 million likes by now. It's like popped off, and it is hilarious.
So funny. Well, Amanda, you're an absolute queen.
So are you.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. You're welcome to come to our small group. Any women in the 417. We do meet typically every other Friday night.
Okay.
It's a vibe. It's a good time. So obviously you shared your story. And first of all, I want to thank you so much for being vulnerable on the podcast because you keep it really real. And that's what I love about, like, that's how people resonate and that's how change happens. I feel like, you know, when people don't just fluff things up all the time. And so thank you so much for just being real. But obviously you've gone through a lot of different things. You've had a lot of challenges and you're a queen and you're out here pursuing God and your dreams and what's best for your child, which is like so exciting to see. So if you give advice to someone that's maybe struggling with like addiction or, you know, an unhealthy relationship, like, or just trying to avoid God, you know, whatever it may be, what would be the advice to really like your younger self or someone that's maybe in those similar shoes?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Heavy hitter. I told you it was coming.
I don't know. My biggest thing is you gotta want it. You gotta get to a point of desperation where you feel so desperate that you're like, I don't think I can go on anymore. Like, because there's times it's like, oh no, it's fine. Like, I'm gonna stay in this like abusive relationship, this toxic relationship. I'm gonna keep being addicted to X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. And it's like just talking to someone and literally like, I say like, I could say whatever, but it's like you gotta get to a point where you want it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I didn't always know my worth in those moments, but I know that I'm worth more than I did back then when I was younger. And I would just say, I don't even know. Here, you know what? My number is 417-812-2338. Okay.
Okay, Queen, this is a new one.
If you're struggling with like addiction or you want to go to a meeting, like there's Narcotics Anonymous online. They literally have meetings in town. In Springfield, I go to the Glow Center fireside chat from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. on Monday nights at the Glow Center. So if like you need an outlet, a place to go there, call me. Because like we weren't meant to do this alone. Like you weren't meant to suffer alone, to feel negative feelings about yourself at all. Like we were meant to talk about things. I'm a big believer in talking it out. It's healthy. And it's also how we process like trauma and hurt and grief and all that.
That's good. That's really good, Queen. Wow. That's
an awkward handshake.
That's probably, I'm left-handed. Don't come from these left-handed.
I should have left-handed you back. I right-handed you.
That was an awesome response. That's probably one of the best ones I've ever heard on the podcast. So
I should have read my number off when like you were talking about guys. Like that would have been funnier, but it's okay.
Guys, if you want to take her on a date, just DM her toothpaste. I'm just kidding.
We gotta get out. There's meth here. We gotta leave the building.
What would be like a quote or something that just really resonates with you or it's been helpful for you?
Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
We didn't touch on it, but we're really
no.
I mean, I like Drake's music still, but like Kendrick.
I don't have one. I've been trying to think.
So good, Kendrick.
I love the movie Perks of Being a Wallflower, and they say like, oh crap, I forgot the quote. No, it's, you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
No, it's like we accept the love we think we deserve. There we go. And it's like, but a lot of people don't know how much they're worth. And it's like, I also think of a TikToker saying like, if I'm too much, then go find less. Like, go find less, because if you think you're too much, well, there's a man that's gonna want you, or there's a woman that's gonna want you.
That's good. Ugh, Queen, the chapel credit in this bus right now, like, it's so good.
I barely went to chapel.
Oh, it's okay.
And it shows my life.
Get out of here, Queen. Not recently. I'd be like, shoot. She's out here at every single one. And then legacy. When you're gone away someday, what do you hope people remember you as?
I hope they remember me as someone that lived my life for God, like someone that was kind. And at the end of the day, like I was someone that was able to help others, to reach other people, no matter their background or where they're at in life. I just want to be someone that's remembered as loving and caring for others, and that I represented Jesus on this earth.
That's good. That's really good. Well, thank you so much, Queen, for coming on the pod. You're so fun. We might karaoke, we might not. I don't know. We're gonna vibe.
Josie's on a vacation far away. I like my girls. I said girls.
Older. We were joking around.
It is girls, yeah.
We were joking around because I was like, I usually go for like younger guys, and then she was like, and then we were like,
don't sing that in the song. That sounds weird.
I know.
She's like, I like my young adult men.
Yeah, she's like, you're not Drake. I'm just kidding. Crazy. Well, where can my friends, females, foes find you?
Find me?
Yeah, like
Fairgrove?
Like social. No, don't give them your address. I know you remember. No, like social media. Like if someone wants to reach out or like take you to coffee. Like where can people like connect with you?
Oh, they can find me on Facebook and Instagram.
Like the handle. Yeah, the handle.
You can direct message me on there. Amanda Orr, ORR. The Instagram's Amanda Orr _44.
Period. Wow.
Yeah.
It rhymes. Was that intentional?
It was. My brother's number 2 in school is 44, so it's...
that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
If you're listening, you guys, I love you. Summer has arrived. This is all gonna be the solo pod. I decided I'm gonna have a hot girl summer. Not like hot girl summer, like hot girl, like I'm trying to be a hot girl.
Period up.
In
period
summer.
up. Oh, okay. No?
We're in the gym. We're in the pools. I'm in the acai place getting my acai. That's pretty much the goals of summer.
Okay.
So, you know, trying to be a hot girl in the summer. Trying to be hot this summer.
During the hot summer.
With the girls.
With the girls. It's
the
a
summer
girls'
is
summer.
hot and we're chilling with the girls.
It's for the girls.
Heat's so hot with my natural curls. No, okay.
I wish I had natural curls.
I'm gonna be done with this now.
I want to listen to you freestyle. Like, I think that would be really good.
I mean, I don't, you know.
She's got bars. She's got bars we don't know about.
Well, thank you guys so much. Feel free to listen to all the podcast episodes. Reach out to me if you ever want merch. We have a couple drops coming. And remember to always live, laugh, love, and keep on keeping up with cash. Okay, bye.